Chapter 41, For Harrison, this kind of secret love is really strange. The old him was very simple and principled, the focus of life was very clear, managing the family business well, socializing but having limited friends in the circle. Until now, he had never thought about what it would be like to fall in love, because he did not think that someone with a bland personality like him would have feelings. Occasionally, when someone asked, he naturally thought that there was no need to fall in love, just find a girl of equal social status, get married and then live peacefully. Sometimes, other thoughts flashed through his mind, but he absolutely could not have guessed this situation. He would be willing to be someone else's secret lover. It seemed that he was being looked down upon too much. But what was this strange excitement in his heart? Thinking of this, Harrison was preparing to go out, and before leaving, he even stood in front of the mirror to fix a few strands of hair. Miles stood beside him, as happy as if he were going to a festival. Although their third brother often said that people in the business world must pay attention to their image, but grooming from head to toe took more than an hour like today. More than an hour, with his extremely productive style, he had already opened a meeting. It seemed that he had finally come to his senses. It was truly moving. Miles laughed awkwardly twice. Third brother is very handsome today, the date will definitely be successful. Being praised by a man for being handsome. How terrifying. And he was successful too. Was his first date nervousness seen so clearly by him? Harrison's face hardened, he looked at Miles coldly, the other person trembled. He really shouldn't have opened his mouth to tease third brother about his personal matters. His ugly smile instantly turned into a frown. Harrison looked at him for a while before indifferently saying, "You still need to practice smiling," then left the house. Miles immediately followed seriously, thinking for a while, finally unable to hold back, he asked, "Third brother, this date of the two of you, isn't Miss Serafina's request a bit strange?" "What's strange?" Harrison's face was calm. "I think it's very good." But, Miles's distorted face was as dumb as a log. Whose first official date is to have breakfast together? Harrison was silent. "Why are you so talkative today?" "Shut up for a week." Miles secretly complained. If there was no pressure, she would normally keep quiet for a month. For the past few days after the confession night, Serafina was busy with work. On the school's anniversary, the directing department, the performing department, and the screenwriting department wanted to stage a large-scale play. She and the scriptwriter had to finish writing it in the shortest time possible to ensure that the process behind it would go smoothly. She was so busy that she only had a little time to eat breakfast to go on a date. The meeting place was the bamboo garden near the school. Early in the morning, most of the old men and women in the garden were exercising. There were almost no young people, so there was no fear of being seen by others. At first, Harrison was still very polite, just holding Serafina's hand as they walked along the bamboo path in the morning mist. But then he suddenly thought of something. He moved his fingers, changing them to interlocking them. She was momentarily stunned, her heart stirred with emotion. She had never held hands like this with anyone. She moved a little closer to him, raised her head and asked, "Where did you learn that?" He smiled, thought for a moment, and finally honestly admitted, "Theodore taught it." He wouldn't follow Theodore's dating strategies, right? Who else would he learn from? Why would he learn from that frivolous radish Theodore? She tensed up and asked, "What did he teach you?" "Don't learn his bad habits." "Hey, you're talking about your brother," he kindly reminded her. She bristled. "It's because he's my younger brother that I know his virtues. He's good in other aspects, but when it comes to treating his girlfriend, he's terrible." He saw her screaming anxiously, pulled her back to comfort her, and then, following the way Theodore had taught him, he very darkly hugged her. Okay, I won't listen." Her attention was focused on other things. Of course she was not aware that he was hugging her very tightly. His heart was fluttering as he pressed his chin against her temple. She also secretly thought, "Wow, this guy is so good, he also knows how to coax me." So she was very satisfied and softly asked, "What did he teach you?" Let me think." The girl in his embrace was so soft. Of course he was even more honest. "He taught me how to guess the color of the inner shirt to tease." "He wants to get beaten?" She was irritated, immediately turning into a hedgehog. He laughed even more heartily. also hugging the small body tightly because of the momentary anger, moving back and forth. Miles and Ben followed behind, secretly lamenting, how cruel, he really harmed his future sister-in-law like this. The two of them walked intimately for a while. She accidentally raised her head, suddenly her whole body stiffened. Wasn't the person jogging in the morning sunlight over there Theodore? What to do with her secret? Her mind exploded with a loud bang, her mind went blank. She reflexively raised her leg and kicked straight at the person who was looking at her gently, that is, little Harrison, who still didn't understand what was happening. In Miles's astonished gaze, Harrison had never been kicked before. He suddenly fell down. A huge pile of green bamboo leaves that were swept neatly to the side of the road. Amidst the endless bamboo leaves flying, Serafina didn't even bother to look at him, running straight to Theodore. Miles saw Harrison clearly not having time to react before being kicked into the pile of bamboo leaves, his heart filled with emotion. The person beside his pillow was truly one of a kind. Serafina ran like the wind to her younger brother, her heart pounding, pretending to be surprised. Why are you out here jogging so early in the morning? Theodore took off his headphones, also very surprised. I run here every day, but you also know how to exercise? She wanted to hide from him, laughed awkwardly twice, immediately waved her hand, okay, goodbye. After saying that, she pretended to continue running forward. Hey! He grabbed her, effortlessly pulling her back. Let me tell you a very funny story. Haha, I'm not interested. She quickly ran away, but was grabbed back by him. Let me tell you, Mr. Harrison is the type who, at first glance, seems to have never been in love, but he came to ask me for advice. Very interesting. Theodore grabbed her shoulder, not letting her run away, and laughed. His grandfather will definitely thank me, but I'm very curious, what kind of girl does he like? She was dumbfounded, really wanting to kick this bastard to death. After he finished speaking happily, he glanced at her and attacked her without any mercy. Can you be a little more feminine? You kick people around with all your might, you're not gentle, and you're full of martial arts. Who would even look at you? Don't be single and rely on me in the future, understand? Do you want to die? She couldn't hold it in anymore and kicked him. He let go of her, nimbly dodged, and ran away laughing, shouting at her, don't be single and rely on me in the future, understand? She was so angry that she wanted to rush up and tear his stinking mouth apart. Who was single? Who relied on him? What else could be said about not being feminine, not gentle, and full of martial arts, kicking people whenever they touched her? What nonsense. Didn't she just kick Harrison, and it was a perfectly vicious kick? She immediately ran back and saw Harrison still sitting in the middle of the bamboo leaves, silently waiting for her. His clothes and hair were covered with leaves, like a little dog that had just rolled around in the leaves. She felt both embarrassed and guilty, immediately squatting down next to him, flusteredly brushing all the leaves off his hair, embarrassed to the point of wanting to bury herself. Sorry, I was afraid my little brother would see us, so I was nervous for a moment. I didn't mean to kick you, I didn't expect to kick you into the trash, no, the leaves. Actually, he wasn't angry, on the contrary, he was happy to see her distressed and tormented expression, letting her brush the leaves off his hair. But he kept a cold face and didn't say a word. Seeing that he didn't say anything, she became even more nervous, her face flushed, her voice buzzing like a mosquito. I didn't mean it, can you not be angry? Or, she frowned slightly, whispering to him, or, should I let you kick me back? That's fine. He finally couldn't hold back the laughter in his eyes anymore, and a sly look flashed, come here and feel it. After saying that, he hugged her, falling into the pile of leaves. She was completely surprised, let out a small cry, and was already hugged by him, rolling into the soft pile of fallen leaves. The green bamboo leaves gave off the fresh scent of summer and the cold scent of night dew, like a small, rough hand gently caressing her skin, slightly itchy. Her skin was itchy, her heart was even itchier. She realized that he was holding her too tightly, and that falling down together like this had too delicate a meaning, so she wanted to struggle to stand up. He pressed her down again, whispering in her ear, look up at the sky. She looked up, only to see the wind rustling through the tall bamboo forest, the fresh green bamboo leaves swaying. like someone's green long sleeves fluttering in the wind. Higher than the bamboo forest was the vast, blue sky, vast and boundless. Her heart suddenly became calm and peaceful, then it was as if a flood of emotions that could not be expressed in words were surging. At that moment, she completely relaxed, her body buried deeper into the rustling bamboo leaves, as if she was sleeping in the softest, most peaceful chest. She took a deep breath. The feeling of nature, so beautiful, but just turning her head slightly, she saw him lying next to her, not looking at the sky but quietly watching the half of her face that had just looked up at the sky. She looked straight at him, he did not avoid but looked at her passionately. His eyes were as black and clear as the sky, filled with gentleness. He looked at her without blinking, as if he wanted to engrave her image into his heart, as if he wanted to look into the bottom of her heart. She met his gaze, suddenly no longer shy, no longer embarrassed, as if these things were all natural. Then she suddenly discovered, this feeling of safety and comfort actually came from him. The softest and most peaceful embrace, it turned out to be from him. She looked at him for a long time, unable to help but softly ask, "What are you thinking?" He slightly raised his thin lips, I want to kiss you." She quietly lowered her eyes, then looked up at him, "Then kiss me." The bamboo leaves below the two of them rustled, then fell silent. He leaned close to her, his slightly cold lips touching her lips that were pursed in excitement, not moving, not caressing, just so gentle, as if forgetting time. The bamboo forest above, so high and green. Afterwards, she thought to herself, was it because the kissing was too exciting, consuming too much energy that when she went to eat breakfast, she was so tired that she almost buried her face in the bowl of porridge and snored. When she lowered her head to cover her mouth, struggling to hold back a yawn, he frowned slightly, "Is it boring to go with me?" She blushed, wanting to beat herself to death, and quickly waved her hand to explain, No, it's because I've been so busy lately that I haven't had time to rest." "Why are you so tired?" He frowned even harder, "Is your school exploiting child labor like this?" "What child labor?" She glared at him, rubbing her eyes in embarrassment, "It's not often that we have a school anniversary, after this it'll be fine." After she finished speaking, her limp, powerless hand scooped another spoonful of porridge and put it in her mouth. He saw her stubbornly turning into a sleep-deprived, dull, and naive state like a koala bear, and couldn't help but feel heartbroken, but this was her hobby, so he couldn't interfere. He originally planned to supervise her to rest on time in the future, but this thought immediately burst like a soap bubble when he got in the car. Because she was probably really so tired that her consciousness was hazy. As soon as she got in the car she crawled into his chest, limply hugging him like a koala hugging a tree branch, and mumbled, "Wake me up when we get to school." Of course he wouldn't call her. She was like a trusting little animal snuggling into his chest, rubbing against him to find a comfortable sleeping position, making his heart melt. As a result, the car was parked for an entire morning. Even though her shoulders were sore and her arms ached afterwards, he still felt that this date was very fulfilling. Because she was so busy, she didn't come home on weekends, and she also called her brother less often these days. Not to mention that it was the sweet period of love. Whenever she had some free time she would be with Harrison. The number of times she saw Theodore also decreased many times because of that. She didn't think it was a serious problem until one day. She tied her hair in a ponytail, wore loose gym clothes, and sat on the gym floor, watching the others practice while discussing the script with the other writers. "I think it's better to change the line 'When are you coming?' from the female character number 2 to 'Are you here already?'" She circled the script with a pencil, but found that no one around her responded. She raised her head and saw that the girls opposite her were already looking behind her with their boy-crazy faces. "Is there a star coming?" She glared at them, and turned her head to see Theodore standing not far from her, his expression very cool, very itchy. She quietly turned her head back, pondered the script again, and even disdainfully commented, "There's something wrong with your eyes." The classmates gathered around. "Serafina, is that your younger twin brother or older twin brother? He's really handsome, has a nice figure, does he have a girlfriend? Introduce him." She saw their eyes shining like stars and her head was full of black lines. "He's so promiscuous." That's fine, I just want to see his body a little. She felt her three views shattered. But the girlfriends hadn't finished speaking yet. You two are twins, do you bathe together? What's his figure like? She frowned. Tell your mother to give birth to you. After speaking, she turned her head to look at her younger brother. What are you still standing there for? If you have something to say, say it. If you don't have something to say, go away, I'm very busy. He glanced at her. His body was dirty, sitting on the ground, really giving people a headache. I said you're not feminine, but you've already cracked the lid and broken the faucet? She glared at him. If it wasn't for the fact that she was so tired lately, she really wanted to kick him to death. Why don't you come home on the weekend? Don't answer the phone, don't reply to messages? He frowned. Do you still consider home as home? You're too free, you can come back to this house when you want, and don't come back when you don't want. She frowned, feeling that today's conservative and dignified demeanor was far different from his old style, and hearing these familiar sentences, she thought for a moment. Ah, weren't these the sentences she used to teach him when Theodore often slept outside? Humph. She snorted, ignoring him. But after saying it, she was stunned. Wasn't this word humph something Theodore often used? Why did it feel like the two of them had been switched? He saw her head down writing and drawing, took a few steps forward, grabbed her, and pulled her aside. I have something to ask you. She was carried away like a chicken by him, and kicked him a few times. But hearing his tone as if it was something very serious, she couldn't help but feel nervous. Did he know about what happened between her and Harrison? He let her go to the side, and hesitated for a long time without saying anything, making her even more nervous. But after a long while, he only asked, is it because you're too busy that you really didn't come home? That's right. She was surprised. If not, then why do you think? Mom thought you didn't want to see her, so you didn't come home. He ruffled his hair a little uncomfortably. I also think that in the end, you still felt more relieved not being with me and everyone else. She was surprised, and after a while, her heart felt like it was being held by a pair of warm hands, extremely warm. She smiled, gently coaxing him. Wait until the school anniversary is over, I will go home, okay? Why are you telling me? He frowned. That's my mother asking me to ask, not me. I don't care where you are. This shy person gets angry. She couldn't help but reach out and mess up his hair. He glared at her in frustration, but there was no way to fight back. He lingered to talk to her for a while, suddenly attracted by the practice scene in the middle of the practice floor, right at the scene where actress number 2 was loudly reading a speech. Actress Lily was full of will, strong and proud, very attractive. He watched seriously, saying, Lily is really good at acting, and finally added a sentence, but I don't know what's wrong with her recently. Last week's auction ended with her not taking the land. She had to pay a huge compensation and also threw away the Ashford family's little bit of face. Her grandmother had always disliked the Ashford family, and Olivia and Theodore had come to dislike them too. But, he sighed, the Ashford family is not good, Lily is so pitiful. She was not interested. From beginning to end she did not say a word, only thinking about the plot of the script. It was not until the break in the rehearsal that Lily saw him and went to greet him. Only now did Serafina notice. It seemed like there was a problem.